It is Friday, February 23rd, and the Splash Zone is back in your life. I am Matt Modi with my 4 favorite NBA player props for tonight's NBA betting slate. We have a lot of teams on a back-to-back, but I actually really did like the board. I love the 4 plays that we were able to find for tonight. But before I can get into those, I got to do a recap from yesterday, which was amazing. Honestly, one of the best days I've ever had yesterday. It was incredible. I gave out 4 picks specifically on this YouTube channel. We got 3 of those 4 to cash. I gave out another 2 picks specifically on my Dub Club. It's only $5 a month, but I do have a Dub Club, which I'll talk about in more detail at the end of the video. Both of those cashed, and I gave out a bunch of picks on Twitter as well that we got to cash. So if you're following me on YouTube, you cashed out. If you're following me on my Dub Club, you cashed out. And if you follow my Twitter, you cashed out as well. So would recommend following me on Twitter as well. You can see my handle here, Jedi Modi. Just an amazing day yesterday. The 4 YouTube plays that we got to cash. Well, we lost Brandon Miller, 4+ made 3-pointers, but we cashed Luka over 31.5 points. We cashed Jalen Duren over 10.5 rebounds, and we cashed Sabonis triple-double as well. That was pretty juicy odds. And then on Dub Club, I gave out Darius Garland over 6.5 assists, that cashed, and I gave out D'Angelo Russell over 7.5, 8+ assists, that cashed as well. So amazing, amazing day yesterday. We ended the day officially 4-1, up 4.88 units. That brings our total profit on the entire season. We are up 49 units, just under 50. Would love to get to the 50 number, and an ROI above 28%. So just an amazing day we had yesterday. It was great to have such a successful day, first day back from the NBA All-Star break. If you're not already, if you're new to my channel, would recommend subscribing. As I mentioned, we've been on fire, and 28% ROI is crazy. And then for this specific video, if you could like, if you could comment, all that stuff does help me out a ton. But enough about that. You're only as good as your most recent bangers. So let's see what we got in store today. First up, Wizards versus Thunder game. I'm taking Tyus Jones over 8.5 assists. This is at minus 120 odds at Bet365. This is a play that I am laddering. I'm taking him to 10+ assists as well at plus 140 odds. I put a half unit on that bad boy at FanDuel. I admittedly should have been on Tyus Jones yesterday, and I wasn't. Luckily, I still had a good day, but that was regrettable because looking back on it, it was such a good play. Hopefully, I'm remedying that today by taking Tyus Jones because I just don't think that the books or the collective basketball world has caught up on how much of a wagon this dude is. He's been incredible. So we're taking him over 8.5 assists. He's cashed that in 5 straight games. And just look at his last 3. His last 3 games, 16 assists, 15, and 14. What he's doing is just crazy. And it's not like he's only doing it in the juicy matchups either, right? Like, yeah, he did it against the Sixers, and he did it against the Mavericks. Those are 2 above-average matchups. But he got 9 assists against the Celtics. His last 2 games, 15 assists against the Pelicans, who have a pretty good guard defense, and 14 against the Nuggets, who have a pretty good defense as well. He's just been incredible. Now, this matchup tonight against the Thunder, no, it's not a juicy matchup. That's not what we're targeting here. We're not targeting the matchup. We're targeting the player. In the month of February, Tyus Jones is literally averaging the most potential assists per game in the entire NBA at 18.4. More than Trae Young, more than Luka, more than Halliburton. Literally the most in the NBA in the month of February. And he's averaging the second most actual assists per game in the NBA as well, with 10.6 assists per game in the month of February. The 8.5 line that we're getting at is just disrespectful. I'll gladly take advantage of it, and I'll gladly ladder him to 10+ as well, hopefully starting the night off with a W. Next up, Clippers versus Grizzlies game. I'm taking Vince Williams over 23.5 PRA, points, rebounds, assists. This is at minus 120 odds at ESPN Bet. I'm also laddering him as well. I'm putting a half unit on him to score 15+ points. That's at plus 165 odds at DraftKings. So the official play here is the over 23.5 PRA, and the ladder play is 15+ points at plus 165 odds at DraftKings. This is another guy that I don't think the collective NBA and more importantly the sportsbooks have really caught up to yet. Yeah, the Grizzlies defense, the Grizzlies team in general is so banged up. They don't have any of their star players left to play, which means guys like Vince Williams is playing a ton of minutes, and he's actually playing really well. He's probably one of the only guys who's getting legit minutes for this Grizzlies team that will also be in their rotation with a fully healthy Grizzlies team next year. So he's been playing really well. He's literally cashed this over 23.5 points, rebounds, assists. He's cashed it in 9 straight games. And the books are still pricing it at 23.5, which I think is crazy. In the last 10 games, so even one game that he did miss this number, in his last 10 games, he's playing an average of 35 minutes, which he might not get to 35 tonight because it depends. Guys like Luke Kennard and stuff might be healthy, but he should at least get to 30. That's the baseline, is that he should get to 30 minutes. That's what RotoWire is projecting him to play as well, 30 minutes. And in games in which he plays at least 30 minutes, he's gone over 23.5 PRA in 13 of his last 15 games. In this stretch, he's averaging 15.1 points per game, 6.4 rebounds, and 5.5 assists. Well over the 23.5 number that we need him to get to. And if you look at his last 5 games, he's averaging even more on the rebounds and assist number, which is kind of why I'm taking the PRA as a whole and not just the points. In his last 5 games, he's averaging 7.2 rebounds and 7.8 assists. Now, the matchup against the Clippers is it's the best matchup specifically for Vince Williams, his points specifically. Not as good of a matchup from a rebounds and assist number, but he's been doing so well on those, which is why I included the PRA. But in terms of the points, the Clippers are giving up the 4th most points per game to someone of Vince Williams' shooting profile. That's per Courtside Pal. That's why I'm laddering his points up specifically to 15 plus. But the PRA as a whole, I absolutely love. Obviously, that's our official play with the ladder as a bonus. Next up, third pick of the evening, Raptors versus Hawks game. I'm taking Trae Young over 11.5 assists plus 100 odds at FanDuel. So I mentioned that Tyus Jones is averaging the 2nd most assists per game in the month of February, right? We all remember that. Well, guess who's averaging the most assists per game in the month of February? That would be Trae Young. He's averaging 11.1 assists per game, again, just in the month of February. And that 11.1 assists per game, that's the most in the NBA. He's also averaging the 2nd most potential assists in the NBA in the month of February as well at 16.9. So potential assists, realized assists, very, very good. And if you look at the entire season, not just this specific month, Trae is averaging the 2nd most potential assists per game and the 2nd most actual assists per game as well. He's only behind Halliburton in both of those numbers. And recently, Trae Young has just been on fire. He's cashed the over 11.5 assists in 7 of his last 10 games. That does include a game against Toronto in which he had 12 assists, which brings me to the matchup, which amazing matchup for Trae Young assists. Heading into the All-Star break, 6 of the last 7 point guards against the Raptors had cashed their assist over-under. Trae on the season has cashed it in 2 of his 3 games against the Raptors. The one game he missed, he had exactly 11. So if that happens again tonight, we'd be very frustrated because we would have gotten hooked. But in that game, he still had 17 potential assists. So we still had a good game. Couldn't quite get that last assist, but we'll take 17 potential assists any day of the week, especially against this Raptors defense. And that makes sense, right? On the entire season, the Raptors are allowing the 3rd most assists per game to someone of Trae Young's playmaking style. And that's on the entire season. The Raptors have only gotten worse as they've traded away their best defenders. So this is an absolute smash play. I love this Trae Young play over 11.5 assists. And last up, 4th and final pick of the video, Spurs versus Lakers. I'm taking D'Angelo Russell, 20 plus points, plus 120 odds at ESPN Bet. Last play of the evening, let's go with D'Lo, who's just been a wagon for us. We've cashed our last 4 plays, specifically with D'Angelo Russell, 2 of the assists, 2 of the points. Let's hope we can keep the hot streak going with him tonight, cashing this points play. LeBron's back, which means we don't get the cheat code of just hammering D'Lo assists, but I do love his points play for tonight. Again, even with the fact that LeBron is supposed to be back. I will admit it's been a little bit of a colder stretch recently scoring from D'Angelo Russell. He's missed this number in 2 straight games, but he had cashed it in the 3 games prior to that. And in the last 2 games, he's had a combined 26 assists. So it only makes sense that while his playmaking took an uptick, that his scoring was down a little bit. Now for tonight, I don't expect him to have nearly as many assists, but he should have a really good game from a scoring perspective going up against the Spurs, who are definitely a defense that you want to target for point guard point props. The Spurs just can't guard anybody from the perimeter. On the entire season, they are allowing literally the most points per game at 2 point guards in the entire NBA. Last night, Fox had 28 on them on an over-under of 25.5. Prior to that, right before the All-Star break, Kyrie Irving had 34 on an over-under of 24.5. According to Courtside Pal, the Spurs are allowing the 2nd most points per game to someone of D'Lo's shooting profile, and the 6th most points per game to someone of D'Lo's, both of his playmaking and his rebounding style as well. D'Lo's been printing money for us. Let's hope that continues tonight as our fourth and final pick of the evening. And that's all we got. 4 bangers for you guys to lock in. Let's hope we have another good night tonight like we had last night. Make sure to like the video, comment, and then, of course, subscribe if you are not already. And then I hinted at it. The last thing I mentioned at the end of every video is I do have a dub club. It's only $5 a month. And basically the way I do it with the dub club is whatever you get on YouTube, you can get also on dub club, again, for $5 a month. The logic being, if you don't want to watch the videos, or if you just want plays immediately texted to you, so you don't want to wait and watch the video and if the odds change or something like that, I do have a dub club. I will say, everything that I put out on dub club, you can get for free either on YouTube or on Twitter. So I'm not trying to sell you some VIP picks package or anything like that. But a lot of people were asking me if they could get plays texted to them. So if the odds didn't change, or maybe someday they don't have time to watch the video, or if you just want to support me, whatever it may be, I do have the Dub Club option for $5 a month. But again, anything I give out on Dub Club, you can also get for free. So however you want it, it's however you can get it. But that's how we got. Again, 4 plays for tonight. Appreciate everybody for watching, and have a good one.